This tale is told by one that died at birth, by one that came into the world in days of endless woe and at the moment of disaster. He grew in isolation while the engines of destruction flew and smoke rose over the cities, and while wilderness and waste crept all across the world. He grew up with the birds and mice as friends. He was a secret, shy and thick and tongue-tied, empty-headed thing. He was taught to read and write and spell by his tender little mother, and by Mr. McCauley the butcher, and by Mrs. Malone and her ghosts. So he is not clever, so please forgive his faults and his mistakes. I think Billy Dean's a character that's been pursuing me for years. I think I first heard little tremors of his voice years ago when I was writing other books. And it was each time I finished a book in the last 3 or 4 years, it was like he was there and waiting for me to do something with him. But I was aware that I knew that if I was going to write him properly, I would have to kind of clear the decks and make lots of space for him. But he kind of kept on pestering, and I was aware of making a space. And then about 18 months ago I sat down and decided that this was the time to write his tale. I knew it was a story about a boy who had brought up in isolation, a boy who had been protected from the world, a boy who grew up in a kind of devastated landscape. But when I began to write him, I learned lots about him that I didn't have a clue about. And it was really like I was in some kind of conspiracy with Billy. He's learning to write as he writes the book. I was learning to write his story. He was learning how to speak, how to talk, and at the same time how to transform his speech into words on the page. It really was like he was inside me and sort of speaking out from inside me, and at times I felt like it was coming out of me blood in my bones. Maybe you already know him. Maybe you came in search of healing and he touched you gentle, and asked you where the pain was and drew that pain out from you and you were healed. Maybe you even stood there and watched while he tried to heal the dead. Back in those days he was the angel child. He was the worker of magic and miracles, the speaker in tongues, and the yeller out of drivel and bollocks and nonsense. Those days are long gone. The dead are gone. God and his angels and saints are gone. The angel child's no more. The angel child has done the deeds of monsters. Whether you know him or not, he has been here always. He could be just a thing of dream and nightmare, a thing that prowls within you at the dead of night and glares into your heart and prowls into your deepest dreams. Whatever he is, it is time to tell the tale. I am Billy Dean. This is the truth. This is my tale.